Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I'm starting 5 minutes late because StreamYard has been acting extremely bizarre the past couple of days. Sometimes I look like I just woke up, even though I didn't. Uh, I hit go live, and it said traffic is extremely busy. Give us 30 minutes, 30 seconds. And that happened like 4 times. I was like, what is going on? Like, I'm paying for this and they won't go live when I go live. That is a problem. StreamYard, for those of you who don't know, is the service that I paid monthly for. Actually, I paid yearly, so I haven't been hit with the price increase yet. I don't know what I'm going to do when that happens. But anyway, StreamYard is the service that allows me to do these videos from home and put them on YouTube. And I don't want this to be sideways. I just drives me nuts. So there's that. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard. Second off, work is getting done on Heroic Tales 2. The covers have all been prepped. Renzo just submitted page 5 to be colored. I talked with Daniel, the colorist, and I asked Daniel, you know, Daniel disappears for like weeks at a time. So like and then all of a sudden he'll like work for it. So I was like, I want to launch real soon, and I need 5 pages colored from each story, so Kyle Prometheus can make a trailer, so I could put some promo art on the campaign page, and then I could launch. And then I told Renzo, now he's working on the cards, because I'm hoping for every $1,000 I'm going to release a card, and I got 15 cards for issue 2. Go big or go home. And then going forward, my model is going to be like on my campaign page, I'm only going to have like a couple of tiers, by this. There's probably only going to be 3 tiers now that I think about it. By Heroic Tales 1, version A, which is the Renzo covers, and then version B, which is the Josh Howard, Jose Garcia covers, and then the third tier will be buy them both, and then I get to digital tiers. I just realized that, and then everything else is gonna be add-ons. Do you want a set of cards from series 1? Do you want individual cards? It'll be $2 a card, and I don't know. I don't want to put a million things. So like maybe I'll just say like individual cards $2, and then email me which cards you want, kind of thing. Do you want a t-shirt? Do you want a coin? You know what I mean? I'll do add-ons like that. Exciting news is I'm going to put original Renzo artwork, and of course those are only one shot. First person buys them gets them, kind of thing. So I'll do that, and all the money goes to Renzo. So that'll be good, minus the shipping, because I literally have the art here, and if you pay for the art, I can ship it right away. No need to wait for the comic book to be published. Things like that. But anyway, that's the news. So I'm getting excited for all of that. That's the house news. There was something else I wanted to say. Work for Eddie is doomed is going forward. What else? What else do I have to say? Just excited writing scripts. If issue 2 of Heroic Tales does well, like my goal is to the same as or more than the last time, obviously not less. So if I could do on par with issue 2, everything's good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the Patriarch in his own comic. So it'll be just the Patriarch, and then Heroic Tales will go and be. This is driving me crazy. I can't reach up it, but this is like slightly askew. Okay, that's a little better. The Heroic Tales will go back to being what I originally envisioned it, which is two different characters per issue. So I'm excited because I'll be able to tell more stories about different characters faster, and depending upon how Renzo is doing, we might do each campaign like Patriarch, Heroic Tales, Patriarch, Heroic Tales, or we might just do Patriarch, Heroic Tales, and then you pick and choose what you want each campaign. I don't know. We'll see how Renzo can handle the workload, because I envision Renzo and Daniel doing, Renzo Rodriguez doing all the artwork for the Patriarch, Daniel doing all the coloring for the Patriarch. So that'll be consistent with what you've seen already. And then Renzo doing 1 or 2 stories in Heroic Tales. That's up to Renzo. He gets first choice. He'll pick the character that he wants, and does he can you legitimately do them in a good time frame? And then Oscar will color Heroic Tales. So it will go forward like that. So how's that? I'm preemptively working on a second printing of Heroic Tales #1. So it will have a new cover, and I'm so excited about the new cover. And spoiler alert, I was just talking about Bao about doing the new cover, so that'll be something exciting. And I don't want to reveal anything about it, but I still have a bunch. I overprinted, which I think is a smart thing to do. If the more you print, economy scales make the individual issues cheaper, and I hate turning. I mean, it is a business. You got to be realistic. I mean, it's supposed to be about fun comic book stuff like that, but you got to be realistic. So I printed a more than I needed to fulfill. So I have some copies left, but I'm hoping that they'll sell out. I'll have add-ons of you could pick up this cover, you could pick up that cover, things like that. And then maybe once this campaign is done, I'll have a second printing of Heroic Tales with the new cover. Let me know what you guys think. And I already paid for the new cover. Even if it doesn't happen, it's going to be a great cover. It's going to be something worth it. It's going to be fun. I don't know. I was coming home from work listening to music, and I got an idea for a cover, and I got excited. And the first person I thought who would draw it is the first person I contacted, and the first person it's already paid for. It's gonna happen, whether it's a good idea or not. And that's the way I kind of work things. For those of you who are new, who stumbled upon because of Star Wars, I have a comic called Heroic Tales. You saw that in the trailer, and it is still available on Fund My Comic. When the new campaign starts, this campaign is going to close, and there will be differences. Like right now, if you go to Fund My Comic Heroic Tales 1 and back it, you're going to get 4 cards as part of the package. Once the new campaign starts, you're not going to be able to get those cards for free anymore. You're going to have to either pay $10 for the whole group of 7, or you're going to have to pay $2 a piece for individual cards. So I don't know if that's an incentive, but I'm not going to raise the price of the comic. It's still going to be $10. I just don't feel right. John Saw says, "Yo, how you doing?" Zach Tad gives me my Sunday blessing. That's good. Now I don't have to go to church. Good morning, and may the force be with you. Good. Said Ben Sabar. Did I say that correctly? Good to see people return, and happy spring forward. Yeah, you know what's weird is I woke up and I'm like, man, I went to bed. I skipped a comment. Oh, yes, I did. James Griffin, good morning. It's a magical day, and I cannot wait to see the world from Patriarch. Thank you. This is my friend Jimmy. He came over last night. We played role-playing games, and his character is a superhero magician. Think of Doctor Strange. And Jimmy's like the only player I could do this with. We did not have any combat. So just imagine playing Dungeons and Dragons and no combat. It was all magical research and figuring out stuff that, like, in the past couple of years, Jimmy's been on this crazy epic adventure, and he got, like, I don't want to say downtime, but he got time to gather all of these artifacts and literally files, like files deep back from like World War II and stuff like that. And his character was able to just research. You know what I mean? We actually wrote, how in Dungeons Dragons wizards have to do research, and it's like you remove the character from the play and you play another character without last night Jimmy and I role played a character researching. It was fun. It was fun. And I don't it's funny because after Jimmy left, I sat on the couch with my wife and we just talked, and I'm not talking. We talked for like 2 hours about the in-world story of my superhero role-playing game and how it's going to affect Heroic Tales. And I think of my role-playing game as the storyboard for Heroic Tales or the prototype, because I pick some stories I can't ever put in a comic book because they're just blatant ripoffs of a comic that I read. Oh, that would be a fun adventure because I couldn't think of anything or whatever. Or sometimes the players do something that you didn't expect, and next thing you know, I'm regurgitating the plot for a Fantastic Four comic that I read as a kid. But it's all fun. Let's see. We got Marcus saying hello. Oh, and then spring forward, I was saying this. I went to bed late last night, and I woke up early. Normally, I set my alarm for 8 o'clock on Sundays. Actually, I set my alarm. What am I talking about? For 8:50, and I wake up, and I got 10 minutes to wash my face, brush my teeth, and then post. We're going to be live in an hour. But I woke up. I turned my alarm off. I got up at 7 o'clock. Even though the time jumped, so I just was like, wow, I slept late. I guess I went to bed because I made a mistake last night. I thought we were going to get an hour extra sleep. I messed up, but it's an hour less sleep. So I think just psychologically, I told myself I was getting more sleep, and then I feel good. I'm a crazy person. Hey, Marcus, how you doing, Marcus? Marcus, I was also telling my wife about Grok. I don't know. I'm fascinated about Grok. For those of you who don't know, on Twitter, I'm not ever saying X. Twitter, one of the features, I don't know if you have to like pay, because I pay for the blue check mark. I just thought it would be good to get John's Longbox marketed in Longbox Comics and stuff like that. So I pay for it. And one of the features is Grok. It's an AI question Google. So I don't use Google anymore. Like if ever I want to go anything, I use Grok. But I put in Grok, who would win in a fight, the Winter Soldier or Terminator, the Deathstroke, Slade, the Deathstroke, just like we did on It's Clobbering Time Friday. And it gave a wonderfully detailed analysis. I posted it on Twitter. So yeah, I think that's one of the things we're going to have to do in It's Clobbering Time is at the end, you see what would Grok say. It's actually kind of scary. We are like this close to like Star Trek computers that could just do like anything that you wanted. Yang Yao Zhao, how you doing, Yang? My role-playing buddy. We played role-playing games last night. I'm very excited about. I'm babbling, but whatever. Yang, I also wanted to ask you. I know you're familiar with Chinese and Chinese culture. I have a character that I think I want to introduce in issue 3 of Chinese. He's literally English is his second language kind of thing. So I was wondering if I could pick your brain. Matt, I was just saying hello to you. I was just talking about you. How's it going? How's everything? You got to come back on It's Clobbering Time. Imagine the patriarch reading a comic Imagine the patriarch reading a comic about himself to his kids because of a bad license agreement. It's funny that you should say that because that's a story that I'm developing. The patriarch is wealthy. He's super wealthy. The introduction of the patriarch is in modern times, but he got his powers in 2001. And so we're seeing him in his 23rd year of being a superhero. He's experienced, he's powerful, he's confident. So of course his origin, his year 1 story, which will be in issue 1 of the patriarch, you're going to see a different patriarch. And then I kind of want to go back and forth. There's another important story that needs to be told about the patriarch. And that'll be told probably in issue 2 of the patriarch. And it's going to be the patriarch meeting the Raven for the first time and having a misunderstanding based on patriarch's past. So it's basically going to be my riff on the Brave and the Bold, a Superman Batman battle, Raven being a Batman stand-in and patriarch being an archetype Superman, even though they're different, but you get what I'm saying. So that who would win, a guy with no powers or a guy who's super powerful? You know how I feel about that. But anyway, that's going to be about a misunderstanding, or not even a misunderstanding. Both of them completely understand the situation, but both of them have different viewpoints about the situation. And then I was thinking talking about like some of his early adventures, like before he had his cool costume, signing bad license deals, making mistakes, and like the public turning on him kind of thing, winning back the public. There's a lot of stories to be told in his past, but I don't want to make the patriarch like every issue is him standing on the tree. Remember this? So I'm thinking about that. Also, I wrote his origin story, and I thought it would have been fine for the third appearance of the patriarch in Heroic Tales, but I realized it starts out with him home with his family talking and blah blah blah, and then it goes into the past. You don't see him put on the uniform and do anything super heroic. He literally doesn't have a uniform for his origin because he got the powers. Spider-Man doesn't get bit by the spider and a costume appears. So I was thinking if Patriarch #1 might be people's first, experience with this character, and he's skinny, because he's a kid at this point. He's 22 years old. Not 22 as a kid, but you know what I'm saying. He's a skinny, unbearded. He looks nothing like, and then he gets the powers and everything like that. So people could be like, what's going on? So I had to change the whole story, which is good. It's always good to rewrite your stories, Like now I'm looking at issue 1 of Heroic Tales, and there's things I would have changed. Now that I see it in print and I see some of people's criticism of some of which I wholeheartedly agree. Some of it I'm like, I don't know where you get that, but that's cool. And then some I'm just like, I don't even know if you read the comic or not. But anyway, Heroic Tales #1. You could see how wide awake and wired I am from coffee. It's still available. Disclaimer: blessings are supplement, not a replacement for church. I should have kept my mouth shut. I wish I needed an alarm. Yeah, Marcus, I woke up before my alarm. Most times I wake up before my alarm, but my alarm is my safety net. Always tell yourself that you're getting more sleep. Yes, psychology is important. Tell yourself you're full. Tell yourself you're not hungry, And here's something that I learned, and it's 100% true. Tell yourself that you're happy. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to be miserable all day long. Tell yourself, oh yeah, this is great. Like when you go to work, I just wake up and I'm like, this is cool. Yeah, you know what I mean? Otherwise, you're miserable, even though it's 5 degrees out and you're in a hole. Happy Sunday. What would Grok say could be a fun segment? Yeah. So, yeah, I think I thought. I think Marcus was the one who thought of using Grok in the battle. Wow, am I back? Am I back that far in the comments? Yes, Mary Sue is Chinese, but Mary Sue was born and raised in Flushing, Queens. I know the exact street. I know where her family business is. I think it's a Walgreens now in downtown Flushing, but in my world, it's Sue Mart. Little secret: Eddie Pagano of Eddie is Doomed worked there. He worked there, and by the time Mary Sue, Eddie Pagano is no longer there. But yes, Mary Sue is Chinese. Her grandparents left China in the 50s during the Mao Zedong era. Being Roman Catholic, so they had 3 choices: die, convert, or flee, and they chose flee, and they came to America penniless, pauper, and it's based on a coworker. Right? The whole story is based on a coworker. I just changed my buddy into a girl. Oh, don't ever tell him, he'll stab me. But in this second follow-up, Mary Sue, she's going to meet another Chinese character, but he's literally like expatriate. Is that the word? So he's born and raised in China, but came to America. So his English is going to be a little bad and things like that. And I'm not one of these, we need a cultural sensitivity reader, but it is proper to do a little bit of research. So pick away. Favorite I'm the Boss I bought is Marvel 70s Volume 3, hundreds. Oh, cool. Like, what's in it? Oh, you talk about Star Wars. Oh, okay. Duh. I forgot. Andor is the best Star Wars. It's better than the original. It's funny because Jimmy just said last night that he loved Andor. Better than the original trilogy is bold words, Cotner. Crenshaw, how you doing? So I'm caught up on the comments. So let's check out Star Wars, Marvel Comics, the greatest space fantasy film of all. Luke Skywalker strikes again. Hurry, Chewbacca. We're being attacked by the Death Star. It's too late, kid. We're finished. Now, right away, as an anal retentive little kid, I had problems with this. Now, again, probably by this point, I had seen Star Wars, you know, but I'm telling you, man, 5 months waiting to see Star Wars is a long time when you're in 3rd grade. But I all my brothers and sisters at this point, my little brother and little sister were babies, you know. And I'm trying to, yeah, it doesn't matter if my brother was born or not, but they all saw Star Wars and would talk about it. And I was just like frothing at the mouth to see it. So finally, my oldest brother took me to see it. So I saw it in a tiny second run theater the first time I saw Star Wars. And in my memory, we were like the only people in the theater, but who knows? Maybe I was just focused on the movie. And by the time I saw it, I went back to my comics and I was like, this isn't right. This isn't right. So I was a little upset, like Luke, his lightsaber's red, you know, Chewbacca, look, that's not his crossbow blaster. The Death Star didn't shoot these little lasers and stuff like that, things are different. The art here is by Hoberg and Cockrum, but other than that, things bothered me. Oh yeah. Is this supposed to be Yavin 4? Yeah, I guess. Yeah. My parents took us to see it. Yeah, my parents took us to see it again. I still say that the number that I saw Star Wars in the movie theaters 24 times. I saw it with my brother. I forget who I saw it with the second time. I think it was my parents. And then there was a movie theater. Then it was summertime. I saw it late. It was released in May, and then I finally saw it maybe June. At the end of school, and then it was summertime, and I would just save. It was like a dollar at the local theater, and I would just go at 1 PM, just see Star Wars, and it was easy to scrape up a dollar, and I must have seen it like every couple of days that entire summer, just walked. And I remember that it was a double feature. They played Star Wars, and then they played Battlestar Galactica, the original pilot. The original Battlestar Galactica, the pilot was 2 episodes, so it was like 2 45-minute episodes, and they just spliced them together, and it was a movie. And you sat there, watched Star Wars, then you watch Battlestar Galactica, over and over and over again. So there's the reason I was obsessed with the original Battlestar Galactica, and why I didn't watch the remake. I was just like, watching the remake to me felt like I was cheating on a girlfriend or your wife. You know what I mean? So I didn't do it. If you can see the Death Star from your planet, it's already too late. Yeah, which is one of the things that drove me nuts about the sequels, is when the Star Killer base fired lasers and you could see the other planets. I'm like, we can't see Jupiter, we can't see Mars, we can't see Venus in the sky like that. It just bothered me. I was 11 going on 12, so those things didn't bother me at that point. Yeah, because you're healthy and sane. You're healthy and sane. That sounds like it was fun. It was fun. I remember Scott, if my buddy down the block, we went like all the time. Me and Scott went. His mother was the one that would give me Cracked magazine and then like give it back to me in 2 weeks. Show me in 2 weeks that it's not beat up, and I'll give. So I used to be like, I can't bend the cover. I can't bend the cover. Lauren Green in space. Yep. Adama. The first 2 seasons of Battlestar Galactica good. Yeah. Then the 3rd season, it was an entirely new cast. They went to Earth. I remember you complaining about the inconsistencies in this comic. Yeah, complaining is my middle name. Hey, Stippling is here. Drive-ins played Star Wars and Battlestar Galactica a lot back then. Yeah, see, yeah, Stippling knows what I'm talking about. Well, Stippling, I think I'm only a few years older than you, right? So, all right, enough babbling. Let's open up the comic. We got Stan Lee wishing he looked that good, based on the film by George Lucas. What do we got here? Credits: Roy Thomas, writer, editor, Howard Chaykin, and Steve Loyola. Illustrators: Glennis Wynn, who's Len Wynn's wife. Colorist: Tom Orzechowski. Letterer: Archie Goodwin. Consulting editor. So we open this up here, and great. It's a pretty good splash page. Can't really complain. Everything look, Everything looks movie accurate. Really good C3PO and R2D2 over here. But at this point, there was a lot of references for R2D2 and C3PO. Now, like as Marcus backed me up last week, this comic was made from like production stills and everything like that, and maybe a script, maybe a storyboard. Like I think the whole 6-issue story of the original Star Wars movie was made before the movie was even released. But at that point, there was a lot of photo reference for the like Darth Vader character. You know what I mean? So I think the inconsistencies that I saw in the first couple of issues, and I think the first issue was really, really rushed, which might explain some of the inconsistencies. I'm just rotating this light so we can get more light on the comic. I don't really care if my face shines. But this is good page. Kind of shows the crampedness of the Millennium Falcon. You know, opens up with Han running. You know, and here we got the dog fights in space. I've never fired this kind of gun before, but I've got to for Ben Kenobi. You know, that old man at Kenobi died freeing us from the Death Star's beam that held us. And this is one erstwhile space smuggler that's going to see he didn't die in vain. Sit tight, kid, till Darth Vader's stooges attack us. Now, is that a mistake? How did I don't know. Did Han know his name was Darth Vader? I mean, Ben did, but did you know, up until they rescued Princess Leia, Han was just a scary drug smuggling drug dealer, you know, like that they hired because he was desperate and they were desperate. I don't think they would have told him everything. So where did he learn his name was Darth Vader? You know, it's hopeless. We're outgunned, but somehow these characters who are trying to rescue me might manage. So they're filling in details because this is a comic book, you know. Chewbacca, this is a cool drawing of Chewbacca. The TIE fighters, you know, all the hardware and equipment is pretty accurate. Within the short-range starship of the Empire, air-giving helmets hide all life, all emotion. So this is pretty cool because as a kid, I didn't really care or understand. The TIE fighters are supposed to be cheaply made, mass-produced, you know, like they're just like bees. Like so inside the TIE fighters, they don't have life support or anything. So these pilots are wearing life support suits like astronauts. But the X-wings, they don't need it. You know, they got artificial gravity. Well, maybe they don't have gravity, that they don't need it, but they got an atmosphere. You know, they got pressure, and more importantly, they got hyperdrive. So like the X-wings are vastly more powerful ships. But the advantage of the Empire is they just mass produce these things, you know, just on assembly line. And as a kid, I didn't know that the stormtroopers were living beings. You know, like I didn't know were they robots, were they androids, were they people in suits? Like, you know, like I got a little confused the first time I saw the movie when Luke and Han put on the stormtrooper outfits. You know, because there were so many aliens and everything like that. Like they only recruit humans. You know what I mean? So I was a little confused. And then when I saw this as a kid, you know, the guy, he's like doing buttons or whatever. Like, is this a robot in the ship? Like, and if it's a robot in the ship, why do they need to build a robot in the ship? Why can't they just have an AI run the ship? Well, you know, even as a kid, I was a weirdo. And here and they're color correcting it now because the Empire has green lasers, the Rebellion has red lasers. You know what I mean? Like the problems are getting fixed. You know, again, and I blame that on Rush. Pretty good over here. They got the blasters, choo 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 choo. You know, explosions in the ship. Does anybody play a game called X-Wing? It's a tactical miniatures game, and it's just ships on ships. It's like dogfights, and it comes with pre-painted miniatures. I really enjoy the game. And one of the things that, like, if you buy the base game, you know, it has the rule book and all that. You need to buy the base game, and then after that, you just buy models of the ships that you want. But to buy the base game, because you need like these counter sticks, and you need rules and books, and you need the dice, and you need like these little tokens. You need all of that. And if you buy the just spaceships, you just get the ship models and individual rules for the ship. So if you buy the base game, it comes with 1 X-wing and 2 fighters, and it really drills home of how fragile the TIE fighter ships are. You know, the according to that game, which is supposed to be, licensed, officially endorsed by the people in charge of Star Wars. It's like the X-wing ships have shields, the X-wing ships have hyperdrives, the X-wing ships, have more, as they call it, hull, which is hit points. Whereas the TIE fighters, you just clip them and they blow up. Which also, same thing with stormtroopers. So like, how scary is the Empire when they're just like a glass cannon, right? Now, going forward, before I change the page, I'll address the comments. So let's look. Oh wow, there's a lot of comments. We got Old Dirty Fatty. Chat, do you guys have a drive-in theater? I had a drive-in theater. I loved it. I remember we went to see Star Wars and the H.G. Wells War of the Worlds in the drive-in. That was a lot of fun. In the station wagon, that was a lot of fun. I saw an interesting triangle with 3 corners being determined: obsession, exploration, and dissentive respect. Basically, 3 approaches to problems that can be bad if it's. Oh, you're talking about me saying, okay, this is kind of, if you don't mind, like, send me a DM on Twitter. This is kind of an interesting discussion. If only people still made comics with dogfights in space. I agree. The Legend of Darth Vader traveled the cosmos. Yeah, maybe you're right. Did the average person know of Darth Vader? I don't know. Hail Marcus. Overthinking, suspending belief. We know it's Vader. You're sounding like a hate tuber. Okay, all right. If Stippling Vaughn is a reasonable guy. Again, I don't mean to sound like a hate tuber, but I'm just curious. The Empire mass produces the way they do because they're supposed to be socialists. I kind of disagree with that. I think that they're mercantilists. How's that? Do I sound like a hate YouTuber now, Stippling? But people, uninformed college kids go to college and they're told capitalism bad, and then they espouse all the problems of mercantilism, an economic system that we don't talk about. But mercantilism is when an empire goes to a place and like enslaves and imprisons and it literally exploits the people by use of fear, terror, and force. Like, that's what the English, the Dutch, the Portuguese, they went all of these places and they stole all the materials and forced the people to work, and the Dutch East India Company and all that wonderful stuff. And then in, the 1650s, Adam Smith started to realize, if you pay these people, if you have a mutual free trade, you get a better result and it's cheaper and it's, so capitalism ended mercantilism, which relied on slavery and terror and oppression. When I explain this to people, that capitalism ended slavery, and capitalism is the free exchange of goods and services. And then it's funny because the first space opera, the Lensman, the bad guys were the Boscone, and the Boscone were crony capitalists, and the crony capitalists were really bad. Like, some, real capitalism has been tried, man. But I always, well, not always, because I didn't know about this, but ever since college, I always thought the Empire were mercantilists. Now, somebody check my economic history. I see if I was right or wrong. Same here, John. I was sure there were robots. Yeah, I played the old X-Wing computer. I didn't know. Is there a computer game? I would like to see if it's anything like the tactical miniatures board. It's not really a board game. It's a tactical miniatures game, but I say board game, because most people don't know what I'm talking about. Random Booby decided to sleep in today. What did I miss? Oh, I'm on page 3, so you didn't miss much. You missed me rambling about nonsense. I thought they might be clones. I wondered why Leia would say she was too short for a stormtrooper unless they had a standard weight. Yeah. Like, again, I was in 3rd grade, so I just absorbed, like literally the first time I watched the movie, I just absorbed this movie in childlike wonder and anticipation, which is what you're supposed to do. Yeah, so now I sound like a hater because I'm a 56-year-old disgruntled man who, works in a cold, wet hole in the ground like a hobbit or a hobbit dwarf. You know what I mean? So, yes. So I just absorbed it. It's only upon like literally I must have seen 50 times is not an exaggeration. I must have. I mean, I'm sure there's people who've seen Star Wars hundreds of times, but I'll say I've seen the first Star Wars movie. It's called Star Wars. It's not called A New Hope. The Star Wars movie about 50 times, and after a dozen or so viewings, you start to view it more like nitpicky, But I still love it. Man, you have to throw me out of your basement if I find you. Endless games of fun. You're welcome. You're welcome to come. You can't play board game. Well, they do make board games solo mode now, but X-Wing you can't play solo. You can't play solo. I mean you can, but I mean you could do anything solo if you really want to, but you really need to. It's a dogfight in space. How am I going to have a dogfight when I know where the other guy's going to move? You know what I mean? Hey, Pops, how you doing, Pops? The Empire mass produced because they had to be everywhere, while the Rebels only had to attack key spots. Yes, yeah, and yeah. Plus, the Rebels couldn't have. If the Rebels used crap equipment like TIE fighters, they wouldn't last. They had to do stealth long range missions, so they had to the X-Wings literally had to zoom to hyperspace to pop out and fight. You know what I mean? They couldn't be carried by a big thing that was easily detectable. This is all the stuff I'm making up in my mind. I'm kidding. My comic has dogfights in space. What's the name of your comic? I know your comic. I think I even have your comic, and I think I've read it and liked it, but I'm blanking for a minute because whatever. But throw your name of your comic in the chat, and then we'll see what happens. The Empire is a military-industrial complex. Yep. George Lucas wrote them as socialists. There's a deleted scene from A New Hope where they talk about it. Really? Okay. Well, that just proves to me that George Lucas doesn't even understand socialism, because a lot of mercantilism is the forgotten economic, system. A market like socialism, communism, capitalism are relatively new. Mercantilism has existed for like centuries before that. Yeah, the Empire would be a totalitarian, but the galaxy is way too big, so they have to be more mercantilist. Hey, I got somebody back me up. Call sign Orion. Okay. Yeah, you were just on my channel. We talked about it. Where can we get call sign Orion? Empire ruled through terror and fear, overwhelmed with superior numbers. Accuracy does yes. Who cares? The people are expendable. Do you think Darth Vader or Grand Moff Tarkin cares about the individual? The individual stormtrooper doesn't even have a name. They're Tiki 421. You know what I mean? And they were clones originally. See, part of me wonders about that. The clones, like by the time when the Clone Wars, they were clones. Okay, now by the time Luke is around, how many years is it supposed to be? 30 years difference? Well, how old is? I guess 19 years, 20 years. We'll round it up to 20 years. We'll say Luke Skywalker's 20 years old, even though he whines like a 14-year-old. So in 20 years, did the clones degenerate to the point where they can't shoot straight? Because they say like if you keep making a clone of a clone of a clone of a clone of it degenerates. I don't know. I've never cloned anybody, contrary to popular belief. All right. And get free stuff. All right, so let's take a look at this. So again, all of the little nitpicky errors are taken care of here. I guess they got the time, they got the reference. So this is more. This wouldn't have bothered me as much as the other stuff. So they're just blowing up TIE fighters. Boom, boom. We're not out of the woods yet. There's more of them. And I just thought of something. When they address it, I'll talk about it. So they're blowing up. Correction too. All right. The dialogue. I think that the making up dialogue for the comic, because remember, comic books and movies are different. You can't just have a, you know, empty panels of expression. Like in a movie, like a glance could go a long way, a little movement by the actor. But in the comics, you know, you don't want to have, especially back in the 70s, you don't want to have a bunch of empty panels, you know. But this is great. This is really great, you know. So I hope I don't sound like a YouTube hater, you know. This is great. Not too many comments, so I'll just go to the next page. We got these great ads. I'm curious. We got a bunch of people watching, and a few names that I haven't seen before. Are you guys familiar with the ads in comics? Like, I freaking love the ads in comics. To like, yes, it's part nostalgia, it's part, you know, but it's part of comics. And I bring this up all the time. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse. But when you get like omnibuses and stuff, like you lose all of this stuff. Like, I know Marvel and DC lately have been doing facsimile issues that I think are so cool. A facsimile issue is, except for the price, it's exactly the same as the comic it's copying. So it has the ads, the letters pages. The only thing is it's on different paper. And I don't know if it's recolored or if it's just the different paper makes the color look different. But, you know, and I remember, what's his name, Dan DiDio, was getting mad because the facsimile issues of older DC comics was selling better than new DC comics, which should have been, to a good businessman, we need to course correct. But instead, he got mad at the people buying the comics. But anyway, I love this kind of stuff, and as you could see, the coffee is working. Let's address the comments. We got Grey Wolf saying hiya. We got Zach Tan off to church. Pray for me. Pray for my black dark soul. Mark Hamill is probably the worst actor to ever appear in a franchise series of movies this successful. Lucas was horrible at casting main actors. I thought Hamill was great as Luke Skywalker, because Luke Skywalker was a whiny bitch, you know. And Mark played a whiny bitch really, really well. As a kid, I couldn't put my finger on why I didn't like Luke Skywalker. And ask any girl, you watch Star Wars, and you ask which one of these characters would you want to get lovey-dovey with, and they're all going to say Han Solo. They're all going to say Han Solo. Harrison Ford was just freaking cool. By New Hope, stormtroopers were no longer clones. Empire had a naval academy to recruit the population. Biggs would have started as a trooper and defected. Okay. See, I never read the books. I never read the ancillary stuff. That's good to know these little details. Cool. After recent years of Mark Hamill being himself, it's much easier to see how yeah, like I said, we've all seen the sequel. What's a bigger disappointment, Mark Hamill or Luke Skywalker? Both. Hi, Marcus. No, clearly the fans are wrong. Somebody likes nostalgia Ed. nobody likes nostalgia Ed. I guess I'm wrong. I don't know if you agree with me sarcastically or telling me I'm wrong, but I don't know. Oh, what platform is Call Sign Orion on? Yeah, Marcus will put your link up there. Right, so let's get going. Boom, boom. We got the close up of the TIE fighters are so cool looking. The Empire has such great designs. I will say that my favorite spaceship of all time is the Enterprise. It's just watching Star Trek with my dad, you know, playing Star Trek as a kid. You know what I mean? So yes, it's emotional. But my next favorite spot is the Star Destroyer, that big wedge in space. Oh my god, it's freaking battleship, and it is so cool. I love that ship. I love the, you know, and TIE fighters are so cool. I always like TIE fighters, the look of them better than X-wings. Not that I dislike, you know, you could like something a little bit more and still like both of them, you know. And I got to say, the Slave One, Boba Fett's ship, when I first saw it, I was like, I don't know. It took me a while to like it. Here we got Chewbacca looking very dog-like. Luke over here, you know. Yep. in the movie, you know, we could all agree that the quick cuts, the quick scenes, the music, the explosions, it created a good tension that really worked. That's the kind of stuff you can't, you know, you can't have the music and stuff like that. So with the filling in is all these captions that are just explaining the emotions and the intensity, you know, and it works. It works. I love this. The ship's flying, it gets blasted, then you see debris, you know, these cannons on the top. We made it. We made it. You know, so what do you think, sweetheart? Not a bad bit of rescuing. You know, sometimes I even amaze myself. I always love that line. Han is really pleased with himself. That didn't sound too hard. At least the information in the R2 unit is still in fact. Oh, so the dialogue is different, and because maybe it's on the next page, but here Princess Leia says it was too easy. They let us escape. Right? Remember that from the movie? It was too easy. They let us escape, which shows you that the Empire doesn't care. You know, the Empire is all about exploiting. You know, it it'll spend the lives of these pilots. You know, these pilots went out and I assume earnest, thinking, were they oppressed, were they forced, were they conscripted and spent, or or they sold a bill of goods that the Empire will take care of them or whatever. But they went out fighting, and they didn't care. You know, they blew up. They were just used. So to me, that just excuse me proves mercantilism. Our escape was too easy, far too easy to suit me. And we got some advertisements. What is this? Art lovers. Now you can be a connoisseur of culture with these, just like me, by stocking your comic art library with these magnificent masterpieces. So cool. Get some Frazetta. And it's really weird. Is this somebody else drawing Frazetta? Because it's or did they just take the line work and color it with comics? Price guides, shooting a daisy. You'll shoot your eye out, kids. Before I turn the page, it'll be on Find My Comic. Okay, so it's not available yet. Okay. Hey, Pops. Star Wars was such a success, Lucas had a radio series on NPR. The series proved a lot. The serials provided a lot backstory and filled in a lot of holes George had to cut from the movies. Really? This is the first I'm hearing about this. Really? Wow. I did not know anything about that. Cool. That is really interesting. I didn't know. Slave One was the great flying iron shape. Yeah. If you ever saw Logan's Run, the blasters that they had in Logan's Run, they had like a little handle and then they went down. They kind of did the same in Space 1999. I always thought that the Slave One looked like a blaster from those movies. Yeah, thanks for the info. Yeah, that is really, I did not know that. I wonder if it's like cataloged anywhere. And did the movie actors do the voice acting? Yeah. Well, back here's we got the Death Star. I don't know. I love the Death Star. I just love that round shape. Now, I always wanted to know, because I'm a nut job, if you were in the Death Star, if you were in a sphere, like was the gravity at the bottom, like at the South Pole, and everybody was inside, or was the gravity in the center and everybody walked? I'm like, would this be like a planet? Does anybody know that? Stippling. So here's Darth Vader, colored wrong. He's green. I don't know if you can see that. Good. I'm taking a grave chance, Vader. This had better work. Are you certain that the homing beacon we secured is in their ship, so that we can follow them to wherever they go? Like a little needless explanation for these dumb kids reading this comic book. They need to know that a homing beacon does this. It has been the end, the last of the Jedi. Very soon, you'll see the end of the rebellion itself. Chewbacca over here. I have a big problem with the way Chewbacca was treated in the sequels. Han is killed, and Chewbacca just like, ugh! Chewbacca should have went berserkowitz and just started mauling everything, to the point like Rey or whatever would have had to like hit him on the head and drag him out. That's, to me, that's the only, like, he just that's it. Like Chewbacca would have went Hulk and just wreck it, and it would have been a great scene, to the point where like what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Like, to me, it would have really tested the moral fiber of what's his name, Ray, and why can't I think of the black character's name? But they would have, and like I think they would have had to like set their phasers on stun and take out Chewbacca and literally drag him off the ship. Now, I think that would have been, and then they're in the ship, and she inherits Chewbacca. Like to my way of thinking, Chewbacca would have been like, hands dead, I'm out of here. Like, this is my ship now. Leave it. I'll drop you guys off someplace. But oh yeah, that's right. I was just an accessory to Han Solo. I was like a pocketbook. So now you get the pocketbook. I just think Chewbacca. They just showed that Chewbacca isn't considered a character. He's considered an accessory to a character. So now this, what do you mean it's too easy? They let us escape, don't you? Okay, good. They're fully explained. They know that we'll take this R2-D2 straight to the rebel base, and they undoubtedly mean to trail us there. I only hope that the data inside R2 could be analyzed quickly so that we can fight back. Cut that we stuff. It's all over for me. I'm not doing this for your evolution. I'm not doing it for you. I expect to be paid. If money is all you love, then money is all you will receive. What else is there? Well, your friend is indeed a mercenary, Luke. Right. Han was not a good guy. Han's whole arc was in one movie. Luke's arc were in a couple of movies. But Han's story was over. That's why if you see Return of the Jedi, Harrison Ford was like folding it in. He knew, Harrison Ford said, like, I have no mama, I have no papa, I have no story. He was just there because the fans expect him there. I had the BBC audio drama on CD, listened to it a bunch of times. Oh, so now there's a BBC one that's different than the MP. Cool. Chewbacca is dead. Long live Han. The movies are sure ruin the lore of the series. Yep. It's been speculated, debated on how gravity was on the Death Star. Very felt it mattered to the story. Explain. Yeah, I know. Star Wars is science fantasy, and Star Trek is science fiction, or NPR. The extended universe was awesome, and the cinematic universe sucks. Hold on. Did you just discuss a sequel to the original trilogy? I thought those didn't exist. Yeah, I have fevered dreams every once in a while of these horrible movies and TV shows and exist, because Star Wars, as we all know, is only 3 movies and a Christmas special and comic books, But I've made my feelings clear, and I'll sound like a YouTube hater. Now look at this creepy scene. I wondered if he cares about anything or anybody. And right away, it's Leia has feelings for Han. You could just, and it's like, I just think it's like, because there's that story of Leia and Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford had like a big old romp during the filming of this movie, and I think that chemistry is just evident in the movie when you watch it now with knowing eyes. And I just, and then like, I care, I do, princess, I care, sis. It was not planned. I don't care what anybody says. Lucas did not have Star Wars fully formed by the first movie. He made one movie and then expanded upon it, and it became the problem that Ditko had with Spider-Man. Everything, like, they introduced the Green Goblin. I forget what issue it was, and Green Goblin was plaguing Spider-Man for a long time, and they didn't reveal who he was. And Stan Lee was like, it's going to be Norman Osborn. It's going to be Harry's father. And Ditko was like, no, there's millions of people in New York City. There's millions. The odds are it's somebody that Peter Parker doesn't know. So when they reveal, and Stan Lee was like, yeah, you're right, but that's not the way comics and drama is. And Stan Lee was right, but like Leia, it's Darth Vader is Luke's father. Okay, all right. I am your father. That was good. And then, oh, I'm your sister. Like, I don't know. It just got to be one step too much. She should not have been the sister, in my opinion. What do you think of her hand? I try not to. Good. What do you think of her? I try not to. Good. Don't think about her. Don't think. I'm going to think about my sister. She's still got a lot of spirit. I don't know, Luke. Do you think it's possible for a princess and a god? No. It's because if it was fully formed, then I don't want to think about the ramifications. If Lucas did fully form Star Wars all at once in a burst of creative, enterprise. But at the very least, okay, so he made up everything. He should have just been like, I would like to make Luke assist, but I can't after, the creepiness of that would make everything in episode 1 creepy. So here they are. They're going to the planet Yavin. Now look how big the gas giant is when they're on the moon. Now I don't know. I've never lived on a gas giant, but like if you're on the moon, I guess that makes sense. If you're on a moon of Jupiter, I guess Jupiter would loom large in the sky. Okay, all right. But I love the sets. These gigantic steps. These huge wall. It's just so massive and cool. It's the costuming, the sets, the models and everything. It's distinctly Star Wars. It is so good, and I have to say that the sequels, the look was perfect. The costumes. The only costume I really I didn't like Kylo Ren's mask. And that's a weird nitpick. I know that, but it really looked good. Like the worlds look good, the ships look good, the costumes look good. Like they really got the look of Star Wars down. They just didn't make a good story. They got good actors, but I just love this. Star Wars has a distinct look. Battlestar Galactica has a distinct look. Star Trek has a distinct look. And would it, if all of a sudden the Enterprise flew by a Star Destroyer, I guess that's a bad example because they're so iconic, that but like, you know what I mean? Like that model ship wouldn't really fit Star Wars. I don't know. Am I talking nonsense? But I just love all the technology and everything of Star Wars. We got Howard the Duck over here, hawking characters. Look at this. This is this is the entire slate of Marvel comics: Amazing Spider-Man, Avengers, Captain America, Captain Marvel, Conan, Daredevil, Defenders, Doctor Strange, Fantastic Four. Howard the Duck we're coming to the first comic I didn't collect. I didn't get Howard the Duck until I was an adult. The Incredible Hulk, Invaders, Iron Man, Marvel Tales featuring Spider-Man. I didn't collect that because that was a reprint. Marvel Team Up, Spider-Man. That was, and it says Spider-Man Verse, but it's not. It's Spider-Man with. Marvel 2-in-1. I got that. Master of Kung Fu. I missed a lot. It wasn't. I couldn't find it near me. Power Man. I couldn't find it near me. Thor. I collected. Tomb of Dracula. I was not allowed to collect because somewhere there was an ad that said amazing adult drama or action, and my mom was like, adult means porn, so I could get it. And Spidey Super Stories. I got that even though it drove me nuts. I hated it as a kid. And then these were magazines. So these were on the magazine rack. Savage. I didn't read any of these as a kid. Well, I got crazy, but I didn't read any of these as a kid. I got them as an adult, but not as a kid. So let's turn the page. Ignore this person. Stupid's with me. I'm with stupid. Kiss. Look at all the Kiss products. Belly buttons need love too. Okay, let's turn the page. Oh, let's adjust the comments. Brother Crush. A little known fact: Chewbacca was Han Solo's second cousin's uncle's roommate. I never got Master of Kung Fu. I wanted to. Kung Fu was so big in the 70s. Everybody was Kung Fu fighting, and it was a little bit frightening, But I just couldn't get it. It just wasn't available near me. I got a few issues of 70s Master of Kung Fu. I bought them all since but I got like sporadic issues as a kid. So now we got all these people over here showing up. Thank the stars you're safe. We fear the worst. Don't take time out. Commander Willard. Commander Willard. Okay. Anybody know anything about Commander Willard? I don't remember Commander Willard. Is this a character that got cut out? Commander Willard. And here they are learning about the Death Star. The battle station called Death Star is heavily shielded and carries more firepower than half the galactic Starfleet. You said it, Chewie. Maybe Luke went crazy and joined these rebel pilots, but we're getting out of here as soon as we get our reward. You know. So now this is the famous scene. No, it's not. We used to bullseye womp rats at my 716 back home. They're not much bigger than 2 meters. You know. It looks like Han, but it's clearly another guy. It's got the, what was this guy's name? This guy giving the speech, because it's clearly not Commander Willard. Man your ships and may the force be with you. I had the I'm with stupid t-shirt. Everybody did. The audio drama is available on YouTube. Cool. I don't know. I really like this. I really like this technology, this art in the background. It's really cool. Here we got. You can earn some extra money. Strong arms. I didn't do a Slim Jim. Now, here's the famous. They're all gearing up. You got your reward. You're leaving. That's right, kid. I got some old debts to pay off, and even if I didn't, I'd be a fool to stick around here. You're pretty good in the scrape. Why don't you come with me? I could use you. Why don't you look around? You know what's about to happen, what they're up against? They could use a good pilot, but you're just turning your back on them. What good's a reward if you're not around to spend it? Attacking that battle station is my idea of courage, kid. It's more like suicide. Shut up, Chewie. I know what I'm doing. Take care of yourself. Now, here's an awkward question. Is Chewie Han's slave? I just thought of that just now. Like, Chewie clearly wants to leave and help Luke, but he doesn't. He owes him a life debt. So is this like slavery right in front of our face? What's wrong? I thought Han could change his mind. Must follow his own path. No one could choose it for him. I know. That don't look like a brother-sister kiss. And here we got Biggs. I got some stories to tell you, old buddy. We got Biggs. Are you Luke Skywalker? I'm Blue Leader. Have you checked? Is the best bush pilot in the Outer Rim territories. I'll vouch for him. So we got Biggs over here. A lot of stuff that didn't make it into the movie, like Commander Willard. I want to look him up after this. One of the best comic books of all time. Marvel 2-in-1 Annual number 2. So good. The Legal Eagle. This kind of freaked me out as a kid because I'm like, that's clearly not the Vulture, but it looks like the Vulture, But at least he was defeated with cupcakes, which are delicious. We got Outer Rim Skywalker. Of course, I met your father once when I was just a boy. He was a great pilot. If you got half your father's skill, you'll do better than all right. I'll try, sir. Wow, there's some. Was that in the movies and cut out too? The galaxy be a lot better when the sons of the original Jedi Knights are back on the scene. Thank you, sir. Wow, that's pretty. I literally haven't read this comic since I was a kid. These are newly rebought. I got rid of my original ones. I color corrected the early ones. I probably didn't color correct these. These look like they, or the color is accurate. So I wonder if the movie's out and at this point, I don't remember. So but the early 2 or 3 issues, I was like fixing them with markers and stuff, and I either threw them away, gave them away. I basically made them valueless and then got rid of them. So here, this is kind of cool. This whole page is like added scenes. Out of your life, that Troy and I have been through a lot. And here's another funny thing. How much time has passed since in the movie? Is this whole movie like 2 days? Like through the movie, like when Han left here as a kid, I was just like, what is he leaving through? They've been through a lot. They're friends, but how long have they really known each other? Like, that's like a work shift. I can work with a guy 8 hours, talk about whatever, the weather, sports, family, whatever, and then never see that guy again. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know how many guys I just worked with for an 8 hour shift, never saw them again. Don't think of them. I don't think ill of them, but they just had a work shift. Like how long was Luke and Han together on that Death Star? The only time that you could see was when they were actually fight when Chewie was playing chess and stuff like that. Like maybe that was like a supposed to be longer, but how long were they actually together? How much time did they physically spend in each other's presence? And here we got Mon Martha. Blue boys, this is Blue Leader. Adjust your selectors and check in. Approaching target is 1.3 parsecs. It's due at time. This X-Wing looks a little stubby over here. Next issue, the final chapter. Yeah, this issue 5 so far was my favorite issue of the series, because it mostly is looks perfect as far as the movie, and it had those interesting little scenes that were not in the movie. And I don't think Roy Thomas would make up Commander Willard. You know what I mean? So there must have been like in the script that's either on the cutting room floor. I'm kind of interested in that. Hey, Andrew Wordner, like and subscribe. Thank you. New name. Cool. This is the comic with deleted scenes in it. Pretty cool. Yeah, it is pretty cool. Yeah. It was. It was based on the script and early cuts. Yeah. Cool. Yep. Good morning. Daylight saving times is a pain. Yeah. Again, I woke up and I set my alarm for 8:50. So that gives me 10 minutes to make the coffee pot and then tweet out, be live in an hour. And then I got an hour to get the funk out of my eyes. You know what I mean? Let the coffee kick in. But I woke up like what would have been 8:50 if the time didn't. So I woke up like an hour early before my alarm turned my alarm off. Why am I talking about that? Who cares? So yeah, this is pretty interesting. A lot of deleted stuff. The Biggs Darklighter, as far as I know, never made it into the movie. There's deleted scenes with Biggs. Now, I'm curious, do you think it would have worked better to have like Biggs and all those guys? Who is your only character, the non-major character, to be in all 3 Star Wars movies? There's a little trivia question. So there we go. Talking for an hour. Anybody want to say anything? Anybody want to talk about anything? Anything interesting to say? Andrew Wordner just would like to say thank you for showing up. Your new name. It's kind of cool. Wedge, you win the prize. You win an official no prize. Yes, Wedge was in all 3 Star Wars movies as a fighter pilot. And who didn't feel bad for poor Porkins? Little fat guy gets blown up. And they had to name the fat guy Porkins. Oh, just imagine that casting. The actor shows up. Oh, you'll be perfect for Porkins. Well, why not Biggs? No, you're definitely Porkins. I don't know. So what do you guys like? We got a bunch of people watching. What do you guys think? Was Chewbacca a slave? Did Han Solo own Chewbacca? I never thought of that before. Like I talked about how they disrespected Chewbacca. I can't believe I said disrespected. They were disrespectful to the character of Chewbacca in that they just handed him off to Rey. How long did he know Rey? Before now he doesn't owe Rey a life debt. So like Chewbacca clearly was not a full character. He was an accessory. He was a blaster. He was a lightsaber. You know what I mean? He might as well have been a droid. You know what I mean? Like C-3PO and R2-D2. Nobody really gets upset that they have masters and owners. So was there a hierarchical, like, order of species importance right in front of our faces, kids, and we didn't even know it. No problem. Cool. Thank you, Andrew. Next week, I'm going to do issue number 6, and then I'll probably go back to other comics. But this series, I interrupted for a while because I literally couldn't find the comics. Biggs was in the re-release, so they actually like spliced him in and officially put him in the movie. Porkins was supposed to be a pig-like alien at first. Poor guy. What, did he get allergic to latex, or they finally at some point realized this get ridiculous? We got to cut costs somewhere. Porkins. Like, I recently watched a bunch of bad 80s raunchy comedies. Like, I was sitting on a couch, I was out of work for a couple months with the broken neck, and I'm just sitting on the couch, and I'm laughing, and my wife comes in, she goes, "What are you watching?" And I said, "Porky's." And she was like, "You're watching Porky's?" And I was just like, "Yeah." She's like, "Why?" I said, "Because I saw it once in the movie theater as a kid, and it's just this infamously bad sex comedy, and I don't even, but the first scene in Porky's would get it canceled today, and it's not nudity, just the N-word. N-word is just dropped all over the place in the first scene of Porky's. It's like shocking by today's standards, and I was like laughing at how shocking that movie was, and that just started. And then I watched Revenge of the Nerds, and I was just laughing at I don't know, like the inappropriateness of it. I guess political correctness, as much as I hate it's got into me. But I was just laughing at so it's like the scene that got me to just hysterically laugh was they have the kissing booth set up, and the two hot girls are at the kissing booth, and then the main nerd makes it to the front, and the Jim McKinley character is just like, and he pulls the hot girl away, and he goes, "Kiss this nerd," and this actress, big heavy girl, is there, and it's just like, oh, so just imagine that, the casting of that woman, that poor girl, she was cast. Oh, what am I playing? You're playing a disgusting wildebeest that even a nerd doesn't want to kiss. Oh, okay. Like, does she go and tell her family, "I'm in a major movie"? You know what I mean? It's just so mean. It's so mean. They couldn't even put like a person in a fat suit. You know what I mean? It's just like, hey, cigar, you want the part or not? Because it's just so mean. I recently found out Porkins was also a crooked cop in Burton's Batman. Oh, really? Yes, you're right. You're right. Somebody else I saw. Maybe that was you who put that on Twitter. Yeah, I saw that. But there you go. Now I'm talking about Porky's and Revenge of the Nerds, so I'm clearly out of material about Star Wars. Anybody want to say anything? It's a lot of fun. I'll close this down in like as always, as long as the comments keep going, I'll keep talking. But I got nothing else to say. I don't know what else to possibly say. Other than next week I'll do issue 6, and I'll finish the Star Wars movie. I think I have this run up to 14. And I clearly don't have the Empire Strikes Back comics that were in these comics. So I don't think I could do the Empire Strikes Back or the Return. To answer your question, it takes 4 days to go from Tatooine to Alderaan. Okay. So time did pass. Yeah. Time did pass. So maybe there was time to talk about Darth Vader. Stipling's comment hurt my soul a little bit. I don't want to be a YouTube hater. I'm just I want to have like a little bit of fun with the comics, and a lot of times I bring up nitpicks. I understand I'm the crazy person here. So so Andrew, you seem to know a lot about this. Where was the gravity on the Death Star? Did it come from the center of the ship? Did it come from the South Pole? Because it clearly didn't come from the North Pole. One of the things I didn't like about a New Hope, not a New Hope, Rogue One was I didn't like that the Imperial destroyers were just hovering over Tatooine, and when they like I think they should, because if they could do that, why didn't in the Battle of Hoth, why didn't those Star Destroyers just come really close and just let loose with blasters? Bah, 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 bah. Why did they land so far away and have to, like, the Empire clearly has deficiencies, that those are the tactics that they use. Now, in Rogue One, if those Star Destroyers could just hover a couple of miles above a city on Tatooine, why do they need like ATSTs and ATATs and stuff like that? Like, I don't know, that bothered me. Like the Star Destroyers should be, you know, shouldn't be able to go into the atmosphere is my point. Oh, I don't have that good of a memory. I had to look up the fact, but I had recalled something. Oh, okay. I thought you were like a Star Wars super fan that knew all the cool little details that I clearly don't know. But there you go. I'm babbling. I'll give it a couple of seconds to see if another comment pops up, and if not, I guess waking up early is getting to me. At this point, I always check my calendar. So what do I have? I have nothing. I literally have nothing scheduled this week, but I've been doing that, and then people have been requested and pop up. But I literally have no talks scheduled this week. So this Wednesday, I'm on RJ's channel for the Fourth Age for Comic Book Team Up. So I don't have to schedule anything of that. So normally Mondays and Tuesdays I don't do anything because I have friends over in real life to play board games with. If they don't show up, then I do something. But Wednesday at 7:00 I got nobody. Thursday at 7:00 I got nobody. Friday at 7:00 I got nothing. But 8:30 Friday I have it's clobbering time. It's going to be the Shadow versus Batman. Maybe this Friday at 7:00 I'll ask Oscar. We'll do another art class with Oscar. And then I got a Villains and Vigilantes this Saturday with my group. Jimmy's going to be breaking out a new character, and then that's really all I got. Yeah, nothing really planned, but that's good because I got a big old stack of comics to read. So maybe I'll do a what you're reading. Maybe I'll just invite people on for a comic book talk. That's all fine too. All right. I think I filibustered for a while. Nobody's commenting, so we'll shut this down now. Have a good Sunday, everybody. All right. Bye-bye.